Have you ever wondered if your actions are pushing people away, but no one has the courage to tell you? As we age, we often fall into certain habits. Some are comforting and even wise, but others can become blind spots. You might think you're just being yourself, but the reality is that those around you notice. While they may not speak up, these habits can affect how you're perceived by family, friends, and even strangers. In this video, we'll uncover 12 behaviors that may occur as we get older. Things that everyone notices but no one tells you about. I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm referring to behaviors that can slowly diminish your dignity, isolate you, and chip away at the respect and grace you've built over the years. Each of these signs will encourage reflection, not harsh judgment, but a moment to ask yourself, is this helping me, or is it pushing people away? The good news is most of these habits are fixable. The first step is becoming aware. By the end of this video, you'll know what to watch out for and how to carry yourself with more confidence, clarity, and grace in your later years. Stick with me, and you may find that small changes can make a big difference in how others perceive you and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. Let's begin. 1. Neglecting personal hygiene. One of the first things people notice, but rarely mention, is when someone stops maintaining their hygiene. This isn't about severe neglect, but the small things, wearing the same clothes for days, unkempt hair, nails getting too long, or a lingering odor. These may seem minor, but they speak volumes. Hygiene isn't just about being clean, it reflects how we present ourselves. In our younger years, we maintain these habits without thinking, but as we age, routines can slip, and energy may wane, leading some to feel, what's the point? This subtle change doesn't go unnoticed. People, especially younger family members, may not say anything because they don't want to hurt your feelings, so they simply adjust, sitting further away, shortening visits, or refraining from hugs. What they're reacting to is the message your self-care is sending. It may tell them you've given up a bit, or that you don't value yourself as much as before. When you stop taking care of yourself, others unconsciously stop treating you with the same warmth and respect. This doesn't mean you need to dress like a model or wear cologne every day, but a fresh shirt, clean hair, and trimmed nails go a long way. They send the message that you still care, both about yourself and others. People notice your energy before they notice your words, and hygiene is a clear reflection of that energy. Taking care of yourself invites others to treat you with kindness, dignity, and respect. And that's a message worth sending. As we age, the inner voice that used to say, maybe don't say that, tends to get quieter and sometimes fades entirely. You may start speaking your mind more freely, even proudly, thinking, I've earned the right to say whatever I want. While this can feel liberating, it often leaves those around you feeling uncomfortable. There's a fine line between honesty and bluntness, and over time, if you find yourself saying things that make others pause, shift in their seats, or avoid eye contact, it might be a sign that your words aren't just truthful, they're harsh. You might have caught yourself making remarks about someone's weight, appearance, relationship, or parenting, brushing it off with, I'm just being honest, or back in my day, we weren't so sensitive. But here's the truth. Honesty without compassion often sounds like criticism. The people receiving these comments rarely speak up. Instead, they quietly pull away. They may stop inviting you to certain events, shorten their phone calls, or just not engage as much. They love you, but they're trying to protect themselves from the sting of your word. This doesn't mean you have to censor yourself or walk on eggshells, but it does mean pausing before speaking and asking, is this helpful? Is this kind? Sometimes what feels like speaking your truth is actually releasing frustration, and that can land much harder than intended. A good rule to follow: if you wouldn't want someone saying it to your grandchild, maybe don't say it to someone else. The beauty of aging is the wisdom you carry. When that wisdom is shared with kindness, people listen, respect you, and lean in. But when it's wrapped in sarcasm or judgment, they start tuning out. Even if your intentions are good, your words still have a powerful effect. Now more than ever, use your words to build connection, not distance. 3. Wearing clothes that don't fit anymore. There's comfort in routine, eating the same breakfast, walking the same path, and wearing clothes that you've had for years. But what was once a classic style can start to feel careless. You may not even notice, but the way your clothes fit or don't fit tells others a lot about how in touch you are with the present. Pants that hang too loose, shirts that are too tight, outdated styles, or shoes that have lost their shape. All of these send a subtle message that you've stopped paying attention to yourself. It's not about keeping up with trends or trying to dress like someone much younger, but showing the world that you still see yourself as someone worth caring for. When people see an older adult dressed in clothes that fit well and look cared for, it instantly communicates dignity and self-respect. It's not about vanity, but about showing that you still take pride in your appearance. Think about it. Would you wear the same suit to a job interview that you wore 25 years ago? Probably not. The same principle applies to everyday life. Our bodies change, and so should our clothing. Some people may say, I don't care what people think. I'm comfortable, and that's fair. But comfort and neglect aren't the same thing. You can be comfortable and still put together. You can be relaxed but still show respect for your appearance. Small changes like upgrading to a better fitting pair of jeans or wearing a shirt that suits your natural colors can change how people respond to you, not because of the fabric, but because it shows you're still engaged and proud of who you are today. People may not compliment you directly, but they will notice. They'll smile more, treat you with more respect, and appreciate you for it. 4. Interrupting or dominating conversations. As we get older, we often feel the desire to share our experiences, wisdom, and thoughts, but sometimes in that desire, we forget to leave space for others. It can start small. Someone brings up a topic you've dealt with before, and you jump in with your story, offering advice. Before you know it, 10 minutes have passed, and no one else has had a chance to speak. This doesn't come from a bad place. It's usually rooted in a genuine desire to help. But the problem is that taking up too much conversational space silences the very people we care about. They won't tell you outright, but over time, they might start pulling back. They may stop calling as often, shorten their visits, or keep conversations brief. People want to feel seen and heard, not lectured. If every conversation starts to feel like a one-way street, it wears down the relationship, especially with younger generations who may already feel unsure about how to connect with someone from a different age group. It's not about saying less, but about listening more. Let there be pauses in the conversation, ask more questions than you answer, and resist the urge to offer advice unless it's requested. One of the most powerful things you can do in a conversation is to hold back just enough to let others fully express themselves. Not because you don't have valuable insights, but because they need to feel that what they say matters too. Here's the irony. The less you dominate a conversation, the more others will seek your input. The more you listen, the more people will trust you. You'll become someone they genuinely want to talk to, not someone they feel they need to brace for. So, next time you're in a conversation, pay attention. Are you truly listening or just waiting for your turn to speak? That small shift in awareness can change everything. When people feel heard, they open up, draw closer, and start looking forward to conversations instead of dreading them. 5. Complaining about younger generations. It often starts with a simple observation. You see a teenager on their phone and think, back in my day, we actually talked to each other. Or you disagree with someone in their 30s about a decision and think they don't understand the real world. Before you know it, these thoughts slip out in conversations with family, friends, or even strangers. But here's the reality. When you constantly criticize younger generations, it sends a harmful message. It tells those around you, especially your children and grandchildren, that you're not interested in understanding them. You seem stuck in a time that no longer exists. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Every generation thinks the one that follows them is missing something. But when criticism becomes your default, it doesn't make you seem wise. It makes you seem bitter. You may intend it as a joke or just an observation, but to the younger generation, it often feels like rejection, like you're dismissing their entire world, their values, and their way of life. As a result, they stop opening up, keep things superficial, and avoid deeper conversations because they're bracing for judgment. Even if they love you, they start keeping a part of themselves at a distance. This doesn't mean you need to agree with everything younger people do or embrace every new trend, but it does mean choosing curiosity over criticism. Instead of saying, "These kids today have it easy," try asking, "What's it like trying to find your way in this world?" That shift opens doors for connection and creates space for dialogue, not division. Remember, your value doesn't come from comparing the past to the present. It comes from bridging the two. It's about being the steady hand that reaches across generations, not the voice that shouts from behind. When younger people feel respected by you, they listen more. They ask questions. They come to you not because they have to, but because they want to. You become more than just the elder in the room. You become someone they admire, trust, and turn to. Not for lectures, but for wisdom that listens first and speaks second. That's real influence. And it starts with letting go of the need to be right about the past and embracing who you can be right now. 6. Ignoring modern etiquette. There are small social cues that often go unnoticed until they're missing. Speaking loudly on the phone in public, standing too close in line, or playing a video without headphones in a waiting. These may seem like minor things, but they can have a significant impact on how others perceive you. Years ago, people may have been more tolerant of loud conversations or unexpected behavior, but times have changed and expectations have shifted. What once was harmless is now quietly uncomfortable for others. And here's the tricky part. You might not even realize you're doing it. No one will pull you aside and say, "Could you turn that down? Or do you mind stepping back a little?" Instead, they may give you a look, avoid eye contact, or move to another seat. It's not personal, but it's real. In public spaces like subways, coffee shops, or stores, small breaches of what people now consider common courtesy send a message: I'm not aware of how I affect others. Unfortunately, older adults often don't get the benefit of the doubt. People tend to assume you should know better. So when these behaviors occur, they don't chalk it up to misunderstanding. They chalk it up to disregard. That's not the legacy you want to leave, but fortunately, it's one of the easiest habits to change. Start noticing how others behave in public, how they manage their volume, navigate personal space, and use technology around other people. Modern etiquette isn't about being uptight, it's about being considerate. It shows that you're still engaged with the world, aware of the impact you have on others, and care about their feelings. This awareness fosters respect. It tells people, I may be older, but I'm still someone who pays attention, adapts, and cares about how others feel. How others perceive you changes not only with strangers but with your own family as well. Grandkids notice, neighbors notice, and their quiet respect for you grows. In a world that's always rushing, someone who moves with awareness and carries themselves with subtle dignity stands out more than ever. 7. Oversharing medical problems. We've all heard the joke: get a few older folks together and the conversation becomes a contest of who has the worst knee, the highest blood pressure, or the most medications. While this might seem like harmless talk or even a way to bond, constantly bringing up your health issues can slowly drain the energy of those around you. Everyone knows aging comes with physical challenges, and you don't have to pretend everything is perfect. But when your conversations always come back to what's hurting, what the doctor said, or what's next on the surgery list, it can start to feel like a waiting room, not a relationship. Especially for younger family members, these topics can be overwhelming. They may not know how to respond or may feel helpless dealing with things they can't fix. Instead of leaning in, they back away, not out of disrespect, but from quiet exhaustion. You deserve empathy and to be heard. But when this becomes the main way you relate to others, it shifts the dynamic, from connection to caretaking, from conversation to complaint. Think about the people you enjoy being around. Chances are, they don't focus on every ache and pill they take. They focus on what's still good in life. They might mention a challenge, but they don't let it define the moment. Does this mean you should hide your struggles? Not at all. But it means choosing your audience, timing, and most importantly, balance. Share how you're doing, but also ask others how they're doing. Talk about the book you're reading, the neighbor's garden, or the bird you saw at the window. Your life is still full of stories beyond your medical charts. People want to connect with you, not just your symptoms. You might be surprised at how much lighter your relationships feel when your health doesn't dominate every conversation. Focusing on what you can do, what you enjoy, and what still makes you smile doesn't just make you feel better. It helps others feel better too. And in a world that already feels heavy, being someone who lifts the room, even a little, is a kind of medicine all its own. 8. Being stubborn about outdated beliefs. As we age, one of the hardest things to notice is when our beliefs turn into walls instead of windows. We hold on to ideas that once served us well, beliefs that shaped how we raised our families, ran our businesses, and understood the world. But over time, if we're not careful, those beliefs can harden into absolutes that no longer reflect the world we live in now. You might catch yourself saying things like, "That's just how it is," or "People are too sensitive these days," or "I don't care what the science says. I know what's right." While you may feel confident in your views, others often hear something else: resistance. The truth is, the world is changing, and it's evolving fast. Technology, culture, gender roles, mental health awareness, communication, it's all moving forward. When we dig our heels in and refuse to consider another perspective, it doesn't come across as wisdom, it comes across as unwillingness. Younger generations notice this, and more often than not, they won't confront you directly, but inside, they'll quietly label you as someone they can't talk to, someone who doesn't want to understand. This creates a real loss. Whether it's your grandchild questioning traditional careers, or your neighbor living a lifestyle you don't fully understand, there's immense potential for connection when curiosity replaces judgment. Staying open doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means being willing to update your understanding without compromising who you are. It means making room for new ideas, even if you don't agree with all of them. Stubbornness often hides fear: fear of losing relevance, fear of being left behind, fear that letting go of old beliefs means losing part of yourself. But the truth is, your relevance doesn't come from how tightly you hold on to the past. It comes from how courageously you engage with the present. When you're able to say, "I never thought of it that way," or "Tell me more about what that means to you," you open doors. People feel safe walking through them. The beautiful part is, sometimes you'll change your mind. Sometimes the younger person you're listening to will turn out to be right in ways you hadn't imagined. That humility, that willingness, is what truly makes people admire you. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've remained a student of life, even as you grow older. That's rare, and it's powerful. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 8 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Number 9. Moving without awareness of space. As we age, our pace naturally slows down. We may feel a bit less steady or more cautious with our steps, and that's perfectly normal. However, what often happens without us realizing it is that we become less aware of how our movements affect those around us. You've probably seen it. Someone standing in the middle of a grocery aisle with their cart sideways, completely blocking the way. Or someone stopping suddenly in a busy walkway, lost in thought, or walking with a friend and drifting into oncoming foot traffic. Most of the time, these actions are unintentional. You're not trying to be inconsiderate, you're just focused on your own task. But to those around you, especially people in a hurry or navigating tight spaces, it can feel like you're creating obstacles that make their day harder. The key part is, people rarely say anything. They just sigh, walk around you, or give a quick glance and carry on. Over time, these small moments add up, and others might start seeing you as someone who's always in the way. They might even silently avoid situations where they have to shop with you or navigate crowded spaces together, not because they don't like you, but because they feel they have to manage you. I want to be clear, slowing down is not the issue. The problem is awareness. You can move slowly and still be mindful of your space. You can pause to read something and still keep to one side. You can walk carefully while respecting the flow around you. This is particularly important in shared spaces like airports, busy sidewalks, or even church hallways. Being considerate in these spaces sends a strong message that you're still aware of others and how your actions impact them. This awareness reflects subtle grace, telling people you're present, thoughtful, and kind. Most people don't expect perfection. They just want a little effort, awareness, and consideration. When you show that, you stand out, not as a slow person, but as a considerate one. Someone who still moves through the world with dignity and responsibility. And that presence is more powerful than you might think. Number 10. Making jokes that don't age well. A good sense of humor is one of the best qualities you can carry into old age. It helps you stay light, keeps others comfortable, and eases tension even in tough moments. But not all humor ages well, and some jokes, especially ones that once got a laugh years ago, might quietly push people away today. You may joke in the same way you always have, with sarcasm, a teasing remark, or comments that play off old stereotypes. You might even follow it up with, "I'm just messing with you," or "Come on, lighten up." But here's what's changed: the world around you. While humor once often relied on pointing out differences, people today are more sensitive to how words affect others, especially when they come from someone older. Younger people, especially, are navigating a culture focused on inclusion, empathy, and respect for diverse experiences. When a joke feels out of step with those values, it doesn't come across as funny. It comes across as disconnected, or worse, disrespectful. They probably won't tell you. They'll just laugh politely and avoid getting too close. You'll feel the distance, but you may not know where it came from. That doesn't mean you can't be funny. It doesn't mean humor is off limits, but it does mean thinking twice before making certain types of jokes. Ask yourself, is this funny because it's clever, or because it puts someone else down? The best humor, especially as we get older, is the kind that lifts people up, that brings lightness instead of discomfort. It shows that you're evolving along with everyone else, not stuck in the past. Nothing builds connection faster than being able to laugh at yourself. It shows humility, perspective, and that you're not trying to prove anything. You're just there to enjoy the moment with others. When people see that, they relax, they engage. They start seeing you not just as the older person in the room, but as someone who still understands. Thoughtful, self-aware humor, updated for today, keeps the door to connection wide open at any age. Number 11. Acting helpless when you're not getting older brings real challenges. There's no denying it. Things that once came easily may now take more time, care, or sometimes help. But there's a difference between needing help and defaulting to it when you don't have to. Over time, this difference becomes more noticeable than we realize. You might have gotten into the habit of saying things like, "Can you just do it for me?" Or, "I don't know how this works, I'll mess it up anyway." At first, these requests seem harmless, but when they become habits, especially for things you're still capable of doing, they can wear on those around you. Family members may begin to feel like caretakers, even when you're perfectly capable. Friends might notice that they're always the ones lifting, reaching, fixing, or organizing. While they may smile and say, "No problem," inside, they start to feel something else, resentment. Sometimes this behavior is subconscious. It's not laziness, it's fear. Fear of doing it wrong, fear of looking silly, fear of not keeping up. So you let someone else step in. But with each little surrender, your independence slips away. When you allow others to help. And with each little surrender of control, your independence slips just a bit more. But here's the truth. People admire effort more than perfection. They'd rather see you try, even struggle a little, than give up entirely. Your children, grandchildren, and even your neighbors feel proud when you show you're still engaged, that you still want to learn, move, and participate. And when you ask for help only when it's truly needed, they trust you more. They don't feel like they're being taken for granted. They feel honored to step in because they know it's coming from a place of honesty, not habit. Maintaining your sense of agency isn't about pretending you're 30 again. It's about showing up with what you can do, asking clearly for what you can't, and respecting the line between the two. You'll be amazed at how empowered you feel when you start reclaiming the little things, carrying your own bag, figuring out the new remote, following a recipe without someone hovering. These small wins build confidence. They remind both you and those around you that age might change what you're capable of, but it doesn't take away your strength, will, or dignity. The people who truly age well aren't the ones who never ask for help. They're the ones who know when to ask and when to stand tall and say, "I've got this." Number 12, pretending you're always right. We all like to feel we've earned our place at the table, especially after decades of life experience, hard choices, and lessons learned the hard way. It's understandable that, at a certain point, many older adults feel they have the answers. They feel like they've seen enough to know how things work, and in many cases they do. But here's where it gets tricky. When the need to be right overshadows the need to connect, people stop listening. This may show in small ways, like correcting someone's story at dinner, insisting your way is the only way, or brushing off someone else's opinion with, "Trust me, I know better." At first, others might shrug it off or laugh, but over time, being around someone who always has to be right becomes exhausting. People stop sharing their thoughts with you. They stop challenging you, not because you've convinced them, but because it's just easier to stay quiet. The irony is that many older adults don't do this to be arrogant. They do it to feel safe, to feel like they still have authority in a rapidly changing world. But when being right becomes more important than being kind or curious, it backfires. Being wise doesn't mean having all the answers. It means knowing when to offer your perspective and when to let someone else explore theirs. It means holding your opinions confidently, but with openness. Here's the truth. Most people don't say it out loud, but the ones we admire most aren't the ones who correct us. They're the ones who listen, reflect, and gently invite us to think differently without pushing it. When you stop trying to win every conversation, people will start coming to you more. They'll ask for your opinion. They'll value your feedback, not because you dominate the room, but because your words carry calm, thoughtful weight. When you do speak, your voice lands deeper. It sticks. It matters. In the end, the need to be right fades. What lasts is how you made people feel. And when you leave space for others to be heard, challenged, and uplifted, your presence becomes something they truly treasure, not just tolerate. Final thoughts. Now that we've gone through these 12 behaviors, take a moment to reflect, gently, without judgment. Which of these habits have quietly crept into your daily life? Which ones surprised you? And which do you feel ready to shift, even if just a little? This video wasn't meant to criticize, but to offer something most people don't get, honest insight wrapped in care. The truth is, these behaviors don't make you a bad person. They're simply blind spots, things that settle in over time without us noticing. And once we notice them, that's when real strength shows, not in denying their existence, but in saying, "I see it, I can do better, I still have the power to grow." That's what aging well is really about, not clinging to the past, not resisting change, but stepping into each new day with self-awareness, grace, and the quiet strength of someone who still wants to connect, evolve, and be a source of warmth in others' lives. As you move forward, keep these signs in mind, not as a checklist, but as gentle reminders to keep showing up in the world with dignity, presence, and character. These qualities leave others feeling respected, comfortable, and inspired. And remember, it's never too late to shift how you move through the world. Small changes in how you speak, listen, dress, joke, or interact can completely transform how people experience you and how you experience your place in the world. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts matter to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments motivates us to keep creating great content. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep making content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.